I can't begin to comprehend how much the world is constantly evolving and changing around us as we go about our lives. And there is absolutely no way that I could put it eloquently enough on how beautifully terrifying it is. We've come so far in terms of communication and growth, alongside the darker and less reputable parts that have crawled out from under it. The splendour of the online world is enjoyed by so much more than those we believe, in ways that vary so greatly that it's impossible to explore all of it in one sitting. However, that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the magnificence and horror of specific areas in small quantities. Love is a blanket term which can refer to a plethora of things. The love of your partner, the love you hold for a family pet. The difference is the form in which this love takes hold, whether it be physical affection, or the odd box of deodorant you buy your brother on Christmas because he smells like drowned rat. But what if we throw traditional bond building out of the window and introduce a completely new idea, like the computer, a screen, a keyboard, and a microphone for communication, and throw two people in between? You get a recipe for a completely new form of emotional connection and affection, shared between different individuals. Enter stage left, the internet, and its humble yet expansive kingdom, full of hidden treasures and atrocities, the likes of which will have your morbid curiosity piqued. The forging of bonds is arguably 10 times easier here than anywhere else. The masquerade where everyone can play the character they want to be, without worry of having their egos shattered into the gusting winds that flow past them day by day. No fear of seeing this person down the local market if you accidentally fall into hot water and end up hurting them or being hurt. Right? Fascinating, isn't it? A completely different world that's almost detached from reality, housing one of its own. I think it's amazing that we can connect with so many different people, but the implications are honestly terrifying. Join me on my dive into the not-so-lost city of Atlantis and explore the interesting oddities of people's relationships with those they meet in the vast ocean that is the online world. Having made lots of my friends online, there is a certain kind of comfort I feel speaking to them about personal topics that I involve myself within. I'm sure many can relate, but being behind a screen without anyone seeing your face is so empowering. I can share all with basically anyone without fear of scrutiny, as long as it's someone that I have basic trust with. That's not to say that you won't find the odd person here and there that won't understand, but it's certainly not hard to discover those you mesh well with. As they say, there are truly plenty of fish in the sea. Do you feel close to your virtual friends? And why?
Yeah, I definitely feel close to them. It's kind of hard not to feel close to somebody who, like, messages you every day, asks you how you are and, like, how your day's been. It's just, I would say it's just the same as if you had friends IRL and they messaged you, asked you how you were doing and stuff. So I would say I'm definitely close to them. The same reasons you would IRL friends as well. Like, they may not be there, but they always think about you and they always ask about you.
Somewhat, but personally I feel like it's not as close as a bond that I can make in real life. Close to them in a way because some people have been able to be there for me in certain situations that my in real life friends haven't.
No, I definitely do feel close to most of my online friends that I've met. There always will be the one or two that I'd like to keep very close to my heart. I find that your bonds can get really strong with them. Sometimes you don't even need to see their face to feel close. There's always been, you lose some, you gain some. There's friends that you've met along the way, and that I've met along the way, that I've found are more closer than my IRL friends. I definitely do love having my online friends nice and close to me.
The idea that you have a disconnect between your online companions in comparison to your real ones can be harkened back to the idea that all of us don masks in our everyday lives. The existence of almost separate personalities within a person that they display to different people at different times is applicable to a lot of individuals. Behaviour can drastically be altered under the right circumstances, especially on the spectrum of comfort the person has with those they surround themselves with. Social adaptation is a common behaviour among individuals, and being able to shape yourself in some way to another group most likely stems from our desire to fit in with the crowd. Say you're a loner, or have no desire to seek validation from others, all you want, but I can wholeheartedly say that I have consistently altered my behaviour around different groups, as it allows me to express different aspects of my personality in different ways. Do you believe you act differently around your virtual friends in comparison to your ones in reality?
Well, as a whole, not really. There's always going to be my friends online, which I'm going to act as myself. There are people, which some people mention that do tend to act differently, but I guess that's a individual choice. I personally don't really have a tendency or preference to do such a thing, so pretty much the same way as I am in real life and online. Of course, online lets you do some things you can't do in real life. Like, for example, this is how I look like online. I get to express my radically creative and bizarre side online.
No, because I like being an idiot. I like making myself look like an idiot. I love joking around a lot, so I do it in the real world and I do it in game as well.
Yeah, like again, I don't feel so judged, and I feel like in real life I have to keep up like a certain persona per se, rather than like, online, so like I can be more myself online.
I feel like I try not to, but I feel like everybody kind of does. So I feel like with my IRL friends, I'm a little bit more laid back and a little less crazy and a little bit more like conscious of, what you do and how you act and stuff. I feel like online there's a little bit more normalcy for you to be a little bit crazy, a little bit more outspoken, and I feel like, I would act slightly different for the circumstances.
I've got like 2 close friends in real life where I do actually like express my feelings, but they don't understand, which is fine. I go to therapy, I have loads of mental illness, I've got diagnosed, and it's just hard to find people in your direct environment. And online, you just have to look up the word and you can find forums, you can find like group chats, you can find support groups. It's amazing.
I have met and spoken to a plethora of people without physical in-person contact, and everyone responds differently to the online space. The results can vary per person, as everyone has an alternate interpretation of the online world. Some people treat it quite similarly to real life, responding to stimuli in the same way, while others build an entirely new character from engaging with people in virtual reality, coming out of their shell and embracing aspects of their character that aren't often openly accepted by others. The simplicity of hiding behind that scuba mask that is gifted unto you via the screen and connection is a freeing feeling that some people can get addicted to, even completely ditching their old life for a newly discovered one in a sea where scrutiny is few and far between. And the most confrontation you'll have to deal with is the battle of your pride when blocking the emotionally draining sharks that circle you. Do you care about how others perceive you online?
I guess it really depends. Not really. I'd probably honestly say I think every once in a while I could show a little bit of a sign of like, oh, so that's how you think of me. But no, most of the time I don't really care. People always judge people for who they are, not really. And that's fine with me. I don't care. As long as I've got my few friends that know exactly what I am and who I am, then that's fine to me.
No, I don't. If people hate me, they hate me. If people don't like how I talk, they don't like how I talk. Or if they want nothing to do with me, that's fine. There's millions of people online. I have millions of other people I can make friends with if I happen to make a couple people angry by acting true to myself.
I would have said no, but I actually feel like it's reversed for me. I feel like when I first joined and I didn't really know anybody and I didn't really like interact with too many people, I was kind of like I don't care, I'm gonna do me, and if you don't like it then whatever. But I feel like the more time you spend online and meeting people, you kind of care more about if people like have met you and like they think you're a nice person and you're like, doing things right. So I wish I could be like, I don't care, but I feel like deep down I do.
This is an interesting question, to say the least, since everyone somewhat carries an ego about them. Most are confident in their morals, and that's enough for the majority to say that they couldn't care less. But to care isn't all too uncommon, especially for content creators on platforms like Twitch or YouTube. When placing yourself on centre stage of the internet, it's only natural to be seeking validation from your audience or those who could possibly watch your content online. But others who aren't in this field of work care a lot more than they wish to admit. Then again, people can detach themselves from this space entirely and dehumanize those they interact with for either personal enjoyment or gain. Not only is this an insight into how people see others online, but it also gives us a small nugget of knowledge on how people view the internet in general. It's a giant ecosystem in itself, a society that's ever growing and expanding more and more, becoming the norm now in our lives with social media and video games. Hell, I'd be unsurprised if virtual reality communication became more normal now due to the dramatic spike in headsets being purchased over the lockdown that plagued us in 2020, and still lingers now as of the creation of this documentary. The internet isn't just a place for friendship or romance, but also opportunity. It's not a place to venture into alone all the time. Exploring can help you discover lucrative sources of trade, or career chances that seem like pipe dreams in this day and age. A lot of people don't understand the idea or effort that goes into the creation of videos, the processes or the trials of the stormy seas that people face in their exploration into online media. One of the people that I collaborate with creates YouTube videos on a regular basis and works closely with multiple people in order to make those videos a reality on his growing channel. I've met an incredible amount of people from this walk of life, and we all support each other, fixing our boats and sharing diving equipment with one another as we brave the ocean and what it has to offer.
I think it's fun, but it can be really terrifying too, because you don't know what to expect of everything in the online world.
It's fun. No, I enjoy it. I mean, well, I say it's fun. I mean, it is. I mean, I get up, I edit, I do everything I need to, I hang out with friends, and then go back to sleep and repeat. And I know that doesn't exactly sound exciting. That sounds kind of boring, but for me, I love it. I love my job. I love hanging out with you guys. I love everything I do. It's a bit difficult trying to be original in this day and age. Everything's been done at least at some point. So it is difficult to stay on top of things. But like, even if you aren't staying on top of things, just being around the right crowd and just being around people like you, it's nice. It is very nice. It is very heartwarming. It especially during, like, I hate to use the C word, but the whole thing that that kind of like screwed over the world. That thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. Being in an online atmosphere, even before that started, being like secluded, it was like nothing ever changed. It was like the part where everyone went from being productive to suddenly lazing around doing nothing with their spare time. I went from being not so productive to using the time where everyone isn't being productive to be the most productive I've ever been in my life, and I've shaped my entire life because of it. I now have a career, I now have amazing friends, I now have everything, and I owe pretty much everything to the world fucking up. Which I know it sounds dark. It sounds really dark, and I shouldn't be seeing it like that, but if it wasn't for how things worked out, I wouldn't be where I am now.
It's been honestly amazing meeting all of the people that I have and the possibility of meeting more. So many lovely and supportive individuals who help each other delve into the same underwater caves and uncharted shipwrecks for possible treasures, no matter the dangers that lurk beneath. You are a part of the same ecosystem, and you exist as a cog in the wheel, meaning you take and give from it, until you eventually decay and rot at the bottom, becoming a piece of its rich history, being devoured entirely. Or you leave for new horizons that exist past the raging waters. If one can create bonds of companionship from words on a screen or the chats from a voice call, then surely love can prosper from beyond the screen, deep-rooted in a person's possible infatuation for someone they've never met in person. Many of you watching might think, what? It's a bit cringy, isn't it? Falling in love with someone you can't even see every day. Well, as preachy as it sounds, love takes many forms, and it's a tender emotion that exists within us all. But in the search of a partner, wouldn't it make sense to broaden your ideas and begin seeking past your stomping grounds and into new ones? To be fair, it is normal for other animals to migrate in search of mates. So why shouldn't you? Have you ever had an online relationship?
Yes, I had one. Yes, I did have one. It was a long distance as well. So it was only a state away. Didn't go too well. I try to sit there and think about the fact that, I don't really know if I could do a long distance again, because it does get really hard and it does play with you. But every once in a while I sit there and say, look, maybe I could try again one day. I don't know, maybe I just need to find the right person that is willing to close the gap with me. I think it was about 8 or 9 months. So it lasted quite a while. But yeah, one thing led to another and it just went, doesn't work, because that person was too young and too immature for my age.
Yes, I have. That was probably 7 years ago when I had a long distance relationship, and we met over a online platform that was able to like meet other people and just like video chat with other people. So yeah.
Yes, and I'm currently in one. We've been speaking for months. Now we decided to take it one step up.
As someone who has recently started one myself, I've seen no hurdles, and I find it quite extraordinary that I've been able to connect with someone who is technically an ocean away from me. It's a difficult task to ask of two people, but as long as both people involved are willing to make it work, and no major obstacles appear, then it's all within the realm of possibility. Most people would find this, honestly, either odd or even worrying, untrusting of the implications or possibilities that may arise. Remember to consider the downsides or other complications that may float to the surface in your expedition. It's all about having common sense about you. Nothing is 100% safe. There are always risks you take, whether your trust to be non-existent or too high. You should always consider the ideas of social growth, and that the future is inching closer and closer, whether you like it or not. Do you believe it's normal to date online?
Yeah, I think it's pretty normal. The country that you live in, or the little area that you live in, the town, could be anything. It's very, very small in comparison to the rest of the world. And if you limit yourself to all the people who are just near you, you're limiting yourself to loads and loads of people. And that's not even just for relationships, that's for friends as well. If you just shut yourself off from the rest of the world, you're missing out on so much. There are brilliant people out there. I've had the chance to meet thousands and thousands of fantastic people, relationship or not, for VR and for just getting myself out there online. I feel like it is completely normal to date people online. You know, you gotta get yourself out there. You gotta, don't limit yourself, dude.
It's definitely normal. Like, and it will become a lot more than normal in the future. I think it'll become the new society, that most people will date online. It's certainly something that I have thought about, because when you try to juggle work and then seeing someone as well on top of that and your other commitments, it can be a difficulty. If you don't have to do that and you can actually still have a relationship without having to see each other, I think it's a lot less time consuming, and it helps out with your own priorities as well.
It is normal, but I don't think it's for everyone. There's been plenty of people that have found their life partners online. It's a matter of personal preference, whether you'd like it or not.
A majority of older people will flat out claim blasphemy for even creating a bond with someone from the deep, in fear of what horrors lurk beneath it. But a majority of younger, more open and accepting people who are still forming their worldview have quite an outgoing approach to the online companionship and the good that can come from it. Unfortunately, that's not to say that things don't go wrong, or as if things are all hunky-dory in the vast wide web. Danger consistently lurks on the horizon, as I'm sure you already know, or will soon find out. Have you ever had a bad experience with a romantic online relationship?
It started out pretty fine. It was a pretty good relationship. It started out quite amazing. As the months went on, I found out that she was slightly a bit off. And at first I went, yeah, nothing much of it. That's fine, I can brush it off. And the person that I was with at the time, I think over time I felt that, and a lot of my IRL friends pointed it out, that they started to say, honestly, the way she is with you is almost borderline mentally abusive. And I didn't really think nothing of it. You don't really tend to when you're in love. You push a lot of that to the side and you say, yeah, nah, say what you will. But I remember one of my IRL friends saying to me straight out, he was going, she's fucking you up, man. She's fucking you up mentally. And I'm saying, I don't know what you're talking about. We're just having an off day. She was one of those that when we had a really huge argument one time, she started cussing me out, saying how bad I was, all that, all that shit. And later on, I think I called her and I said, "Is everything all right? Can we please talk about it?" And she said, "Look, maybe not right now. I'm at one of my friends' houses," which was a guy. And, I tend to believe that if a girl tends to do the whole, not all girls, but she was one of those that she would do the whole, "He's just a friend, stop panicking, just a friend." But she never told me that she was at his house until I pretty much ushered it out of her. And of course, that really played up with me. And then pretty much my level of trust with her went down. And each time I was kind of with her, it went down further. So now pretty much my trust issues are...
I only had one online relationship, and it was a bad experience too, even though it was worth an experience. As I said, it was 7 years ago, so it really did put me off starting online relationships because I was really, really afraid of that.
I'm gonna go into detail about this. The first one was abusive, mostly emotional abusive. Right, I never met up with him. It was just, you can't talk to these people, you can't do this, you can't go out then, you have to, But it took a big emotional toll on me. And then I went on this game a couple of years ago, met a guy. He was not happy with himself at all, became friends. We talked a lot, we were good friends for a couple of months, and then one thing led to another. But the first couple of months of the relationship were great, so we started planning on meeting up and stuff. We booked flights, we booked trips, we went and did all that together. We saved up for it. But then after everything was booked and stuff, it got really bad. Suicide baiting, and if you leave me, I'll commit suicide, I'll do this, I'll do that, that's what he was doing. And also being incredibly controlling. I had to be on call 24/7, had to be with him 24/7, but when he wanted to go somewhere and talk to other people, he could, but I couldn't. He was significantly older than me. I was naive, I was young. That's the dark side of online relationships, really.
The virtual space is more similar than you think. Everyone has their crazy exes, terrible experiences, and downright deplorable mistakes that they've made. The internet and its flowing waves are a deep reflection of our current day, constantly growing and flooding more and more into the life we lead. The gear we use to dive gets safer and safer each day. Developments are made and implemented to keep us safe, but that doesn't mean we don't encounter the freakish horrors when we submerge into the space rich with variety and vigour. Almost everyone has had their close shaves and brushes with the deceptive creatures that lure their victims into the suffocating deep. What's the scariest experience you've had with someone online?
Another one of the girls that I've dated on VR. I don't know, they just started talking about all the bad stuff that they were gonna do to themselves and everything. They really opened up to me in the first couple of hours they started talking. She really opened up to me, and I really wanted to fix that, cradle her. But then she started to get to the bad stuff, she's gonna commit suicide and all that. I didn't know what to do because it was getting too awkward and too weirded out for me. I wanted to break up, but then I didn't know what she would do. This went on for 3 months.
So when I was around 15 or 14 years old, I used to go to the internet just using Omegle. And there was this one guy that private messaged me saying that someone hacked into my account. And I, as a 14 or 15-year-old girl, I believed that. And then I was really scared, I got really afraid, and this guy just created several profiles to message me and just talk to me how we can figure that out. But then he told me to go into that one room, and I guess he wanted me to do things, or else he will hack into my Wi-Fi and just tell my family about everything I do on the internet and all that, even though it wasn't that bad. But I got really scared, so I still did. And then this guy recorded everything and went to other rooms of that platform to show those videos. And he had several videos of other girls too. It was not just me. But he did actually get caught, and he is in jail now, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah.
The world beneath is more expansive than we realise. And for every good thing that comes from our wider communication and connection, there is an equal and opposite application of these tools, used for malignant deeds that hide away under a visage of prosperity. Like anything, a grain of salt is to be taken at all times. Be realistic and ponder about the situation, a little deeper as you always would. Do you have any advice about online friendship or romance for less internet-savvy people?
Friendship, if you meet them online, sometimes it'll be the best people that you've ever met. You will always find that one or two that you really want to keep to you close. You don't really know how many people you can meet online until you do games. Until you even go on games like this, just about every single day you can bump into someone new and unique. Relationships, I think it's something that really depends on if you're ready to take that kind of dive. It takes a lot of mental strength. It definitely takes a lot of trust issues. You really need to trust that other person. If you're someone who's already been in a long-distance relationship, didn't like it, but you want to try again, go for it. I think it's always worth doing another shot, or at least attempting it one more time. I always think online is definitely the way to go for a lot of things. Before anything, friendship will always be the strongest. Always, always, always. You'll meet people online, and that'll be the best part of it all.
Well, I'd say definitely don't be afraid of it, or definitely be open about it, because especially now with people's limited ability to meet each other and be social online, it's the internet. You can meet anyone and anyone at any time. You can have really good experiences, you can really have bad experiences. It's all up to you and how you make it. I'd definitely say don't be afraid to try it out and see what happens.
For us, had the privilege to have grown up with this technology, online friends and relationships are just as important to us as real ones. For less savvy people, it's a hard concept to understand, and I don't blame them. We were just born with this technology, this amazing constant communication all across the world. Respect it is what I'd say. It's right to be concerned with any form of technology. It can be abused. Yeah, maintain an open mind, definitely. That's what I'd say.
Experience is the greatest teacher, and there are some wise chunks of knowledge that we can feast upon to widen our perception of this amazing ocean, to stay safe as we discover more and more. I'd implore everyone to equip their own wetsuit and diving tank to truly feel the waters of the internet. Explore chat rooms, join servers and communities. Search for places where you can fit in and build relationships with people that could last your lifetime. Or don't. The space isn't for everyone and can be daunting to think about, especially since there isn't a way to quantify the stupendous scale of the world separated from our own. I'm obviously a person who has had a large part of my life spent around online chat rooms, Xbox parties, video game lobbies, and Discord. Like so many others my age, my life almost revolves around these things. The virtual space is so relevant and hard to ignore. But don't get swept up in the tides. Maintain a healthy link between your life outside of the endless ocean. But remember, the sea level is rising, and you can either accept your fate and become one with the ocean, or move to higher ground. The choice is yours.
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind. When I think of you sometime, and I wanna spend some time with you, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. Just the two of us, just the two of us, building castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I. We look for love love, no time for tears. Wasted water's all that is, and it don't make no flowers grow. Good things might come to those who wait, not for those who wait too late. We gotta go for all we know, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us, just the two of us, just the two of us, building them castles in the sky, just the two of us.